Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. Today there is no makeup. I didn't feel the need to put any on because it's going to be a bit more of a serious topic, so I've just kind of washed my hair and done it because it needed doing. I'm very spotty. So I'm going to put a trigger warning in the title, but just another one here. Trigger warning, I'm going to be discussing eating disorders, more specifically binge eating. I don't want to have to censor myself really in the video. I want to be as honest as possible. So here's your trigger warning. If this is not helpful for you at the moment, then I have a lot more lighter videos.
Oh, this is my pet peeve. I didn't mean more lighter, I meant lighter or more light.
On my channel, but hopefully this video will be helpful in some way and won't be too hard hitting, I hope at least. So if you know someone who's struggling with this, or if you want to get more information on this topic, then hopefully I'll be able to help. Obviously I'm no professional, but I have experienced it, so I'll say how I have learnt to deal with things in my own mind. Much like any addiction or disorder, it's a lifelong thing, so I'm never going to not have an eating disorder. Just like anybody who has it, I will always have an eating disorder, so it's not something that you're ever going to be able to get rid of completely, but I've got some helpful tips hopefully as to how I've learnt to keep an eye on it and to make myself as healthy as possible through the years that I've had it. So I would only really say that I've acknowledged having an eating disorder in the past year or so. I think lockdown has made a lot of us realise some of the traumas and triggers that we have because we've been completely inside and you can't distract yourself. So I think I've always had a very unhealthy relationship with food. So when I celebrate, food is involved. When I commiserate, food is involved. Food is always the most important thing to me, and it's, you know, a double-edged sword because I really love loving food. I love being able to experiment with food, and I love cooking, I love baking, so I feel really fortunate that I do enjoy my food. But unfortunately, I do have a very toxic relationship with food, and I'll go into a few more details about that. So my eating disorder manifests itself in an obsession with having food in the house. So I think there's a lot of different layers to it. So I grew up quite poor and we didn't have much. Everything was kind of, you know, scrimped, and my parents did their best, but there were definitely times when we could tell that we didn't have as much money as other people. We always got free lunches, I think, at school just because of how little my parents earned. I definitely have a lot of problems with that. I tend to want to have lots of food in the house regardless of whether I'm going to eat it or not. I just want to have it there. So that's one side of it. I think it started to manifest itself fully when I was at college. So I would buy a big pack of Yum Yums, a wrap and a sandwich, a big bottle of Lucozade, and eat that in my lunch. And when you're eating that level of food, it's not enjoyable. Like, you can't enjoy eating that level of food. Like, I've got a big old fist, but my stomach is that big. So, and you're shoving 4 Yum Yums, a wrap, sandwich, Lucozade, all into this. Even if you expand it, it's not enjoyable. Like, it's not going to be a fun thing to eat that amount. So it was more about filling a void, I think. And also, I've never really had a vice. I think that obviously I wasn't allowed to celebrate my birthday. I wasn't allowed to celebrate Christmas. I wasn't allowed a boyfriend. I wasn't allowed to kiss a boy. I wasn't allowed to hold hands with a boy. I wasn't allowed to have sex. I didn't drink, do drugs, smoke, swear, party, go out with school friends. I wasn't allowed to do that. So my only vice was food. And I think that was definitely, you know, I think some people go one way when it comes to food being the only thing they can control, and they get very obsessed with calorie counting. And don't get me wrong, I have had so many fad diets. I did the Dukan diet once, which I'll put in some information here about it. It's so dangerous. I lost 9 pounds in a week. And I've just done so many fad diets like that. And sadly, that was because my mum did them. And, you know, that's so sad when you have a parent who will encourage fad diets and unsafe diets over their child's health. But there you go, she obviously didn't do her research on it enough. But yeah, and obviously I've mentioned about my family being fatphobic, and just for another example of that, me and my cousin always were compared to each other, and my cousin would be told that she looks like Goldie Hawn. And there's the show Miranda, who the whole trope of the show is there's Stevie, who's this blonde petite woman, and Miranda, who shops at Big and Tall and is bumbling. And I was always told that I was Miranda, and my cousin was always told that she was Stevie. So being thin was definitely something that was rewarded in my family, which doesn't make any sense because all of them are big, but anyway. So I think because I've always been a very independent and confident person, I would go against that and just eat and eat and eat, and obviously to fill a void as well. So I think that's where it all started. So yeah, I binge eat massively, and I have days where I have to like text Brandon and say my overeating is really bad today, can we go out for a walk or something? Because just like a drug addict or anything addict, an alcoholic, I need to get away from those triggers. And it's so hard because, not that I'm comparing addictions at all, because every addiction is difficult, but when you are addicted to alcohol, you cut out all alcohol. When you're addicted to drugs, you cut out all drugs. When you're addicted to food, you need food. I need food to eat. And I find it also so triggering and so unhelpful when people talk about diets. Firstly, diets are so fucking stupid anyway, because they make you restrain, which then when you can eat again or you have a cheat day, you go mad. So that doesn't help. And also they tell you to eat healthy foods. What is that? Because I have always loved fruit. I love apples, bananas, raspberries, blackberries, blackcurrants, grapes are my love language. Like, I love those things. I could eat 2 punnets easily a day, if not 3. I could eat a whole packet, a pack of 5 apples. I have no ability to eat in moderation. So when people say, well, just get some healthy snacks, that doesn't help me, because my problem isn't with eating healthily, which by the way isn't a fucking thing, because everything has calories, everything has, unless we sit here eating celery, all of us are eating unhealthily at some point. There are things that have more nutritional value than others, but I can't eat in moderation. And that's not to say that I don't, because I work really hard to make sure that I have very good portion control. I eat at meal times so that I can keep an eye on how much I'm eating, and so I don't feel tempted to binge eat. I also have other distractions. I found working out really helpful. I don't know if it is for everyone, but I love going to the gym, not really to lose weight, just more for a focal point for my mind, so I don't feel so tempted to just come home and binge eat. But saying to people to eat healthily when you have a food addiction is so not helpful, because trust me, I can make the healthiest thing in the world unhealthy with the amount that I'll eat of it. And, you know, I think a lot of people are very conscious of anorexia and conscious of bulimia, but I don't think that people get how serious and how much of a problem binge eating is. I think people just think that you're greedy, and trust me, it's not about that, because like I said, the amount I ate at college, that's not fun. That's not just me binge eating because I was hungry and I wanted to eat all those things. It may have started off like that, but it doesn't end like that, because trust me, I'm sat there with my stomach absolutely distended, full of food. I feel sick, I feel lethargic, I've got to do a whole afternoon in college. What about that is enjoyable? And so people who think that binge eating and overeating is just somebody not having control over their diet or just being greedy, maybe you're right, but it's still a very serious condition where people need understanding, just like people with anorexia and bulimia need understanding. The other side of it, when you just binge eat but you don't throw up, you just binge eat to fill a void in you, that's just as dangerous. And I feel like things like BMI scales are actually the devil, and I think they're disgusting. And I'm going to actually have a look now because I'm feeling really triggered, so I'm going to put that to good use and see if there are any petitions against BMI scales, because I got down, I'll put some pictures here, I got down to the smallest I've ever been. I was a size 14. I looked fabulous. I looked a little bit gaunt, maybe a little bit too thin, but I looked great. And I was still overweight according to my BMI scale, which, when you already have a lot of traumas around acceptance and rejection, and you have issues with food, someone telling you that you are still 2 stone overweight when you're tiny and you look like a bit of a lollipop because your head is so much bigger than your body, that is so fucking dangerous. And that's where anorexia begins. And, you know, I have had I don't even know what it's called, overeating, just an eating disorder. I suppose they're all under the same thing, aren't they? It doesn't matter what way it manifests itself. It's just that you have issues with food, and I think it's really important to talk about these things and to talk about how much people don't accept it. And there is still that fat phobia in people. Like, a fat person puts a picture on Instagram, they're less likely to get likes than a thin person putting a picture on Instagram, because everyone likes thin, people don't like fat, they don't like to see fat people. And I'm so happy that that is moving away, but definitely you can tell that some people are just saying it, to say that they aren't fat phobic, or to say, oh no, all sizes are beautiful. There are definitely people who don't feel that way and just say it. So I think educating on why people get to sizes that they are, and that all sizes are beautiful, but that there might be a trigger behind why someone is the size they are, is definitely important. And not just that they're lazy, because I'm really not lazy, and I can't speak for anyone else who's got an eating disorder, but I am not fucking lazy. I do so much and try and be so active, and even on my weekends, like now I'm so busy with my new job, but I still want to be doing stuff on the weekends, and I want to go out for meals so that I, can eat the things that I enjoy, but not, sat in bed just eating everything, because that is really bad for me and not helpful for my journey and getting better and recovering from an eating disorder. So, I am a real go-getter. I'm really passionate and I try so hard. So for someone to look at me and look at my size and to automatically assume that I'm lazy because I'm fat is so damaging. And that's why people have eating disorders or have trauma around food, is because of people's attitudes like that. Even Brandon, I'll check before I put this in if he's okay with it, but he just ate rice and tuna every day for years because he had comments about his weight and he just wanted to get skinny. So it's, again, like we know, it's not just women, men are affected by this too. Like I say, I can't speak for everybody. I can only say the things that have helped me. I've already mentioned the gym. I really can't say enough how helpful that is. The endorphins that you get are so helpful to anyone. However your addiction manifests itself, there is a part of you that is either not happy with who you are, or you're trying to forget something, and the outcome of when you've done these things is a massive amount of guilt. So for me, I really dislike myself and I dislike the way that I eat. So I've been working really hard the last couple of years to be healthy, and I don't necessarily need to be thin. And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying I do like the way that I look when I'm thinner. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that. I do prefer it. But I also look at pictures of me at this size and I'm like, oh, she looks good. Like, there were days when I was thinner that I would look at myself in a picture and be like, ew, gross. And then the next day I'd be like, oh, she looks good. Whatever size you are, you have days when your angles are better than others. Like, we all know that. And so for me, it's about being healthy and having an outlet for my anger or my stress or whatever that isn't food related. So definitely working out however you prefer to work out is never going to be wrong, because it's just a healthy way to get rid of some stress. I think as well, for me, having things that I always have in the house is really important to me. More going back to that, having worried about not having food in the past when I was younger, so now worrying about making sure I have it. So I always have grapes in the house, I always have bread in the house, I always have milk in the house. And those things might not be good for people, but they are things that I really like, and I try hard to not have too much of the really bad things like sweets and pizzas or whatever, but I do. If I want to have them, then I'll have them. Whereas I try and make sure that I know what I need to have in the house to make me feel secure, like my grapes, because I love them. And I always have them in the house, and I don't make myself feel guilty for always needing to have those in the house. So that's definitely important, to have some kind of safety foods that bring you comfort, that aren't necessarily just comfort food. Again, what the fuck does that mean? Comfort food is whatever makes you feel good. What's wrong with comfort food? Anyway, I would say as well, calorie counting is the devil, so are BMIs. So just eat when you're hungry, drink plenty of water. That for sure was something I wasn't doing. So sometimes I wasn't hungry, I was just thirsty. So yeah, a lot to be said for drinking water. Doesn't obviously stop you being hungry, but it does make you feel healthier, and it obviously helps your skin, which let's not talk about that today because I look disgusting, but it's definitely helpful. I think as well, having plans. So I have plans for when I'm going to go out for dinner. So I'm not so tempted to just buy stuff at home. I will if I want to, but I'm like, oh, I'm excited for that. I want to like that be a treat, you know, when I go out. And I don't think that making yourself have cheat days or saying that you can't have something until a cheat day is a good idea. I think that's like an awful idea. But I do think that it's nice to make your eating more social. My eating was very private, so it was when I was feeling lonely, then I would eat loads to kind of make up for the loneliness. So try and make your eating more social, you know, make more of an effort to cook something rather than just have something easy. I found that's really good for me because I enjoy the process of cooking more. And obviously you can't help it, there are days when I have to have a microwave meal or something quick and easy because I haven't got time, but it's nice to enjoy eating and to enjoy the food that you're having. And when you binge eat, you miss out on all of the enjoyment of food. So trying to make your eating more social and trying to make it more enjoyable for you, I think that was really good for me. And I think as well, realising what your triggers are and trying to bear those in mind when it comes to your food and your eating, and stay away from those triggers. So if there's someone in your life that makes you feel bad for the way that you look, cut them out. If there's somebody in your life that makes you feel guilty for eating or for binge eating, cut them out, because that's not helpful. When I would binge eat, if someone would make me feel bad for binge eating, I would binge eat more. Like, it doesn't help. It will either make you eat more or it will make you stop eating, which is then again an eating disorder. So just be around people who love you, who support you, who want you to be your healthiest and will encourage you to be healthy, but through what is good for you. So let you lead the way, and we all have to take the responsibility for ourselves to try and make ourselves the best person we can be. So friends who will be there to support you when you ask them to, and ask a friend, you know, how can I help you? If you know that they're going through something like an eating disorder and they have told you that they need help, try and help you and make you better, and, you know, go out with you for meals and, you know, not judge you for eating whatever you want. I think when you are happy and content in yourself, that's when you can start to heal from these traumas and these triggers and start to take lessons from them rather than being so overwhelmed by them. So just surround yourself with people who really care about you and love you and want you to be healthy. Don't want you to look a certain way, just want you to be healthy, because then that will manifest itself in you. You will know that you are worthy of being healthy and you are worthy of looking after your body and being the best version of yourself that you can be. And then that will continue on. And remember, it's not an overnight fix, just like any addiction. You will have relapses, you will have moments when you are happier with the way that you're going and moments when you're less happy. But love yourself regardless of what you're doing at that moment. Even if you start binge eating again, you're not a bad person, you're just trying your best. And it's worse to start demonizing yourself just because you're struggling, because then you're just going to do it again and again and not look after yourself. So just love yourself, make sure that you love the person that you are and the body that you're in, and in turn you'll want to look after it. So whatever size you are, love yourself and look after yourself. And the last thing I would say is throw away those fucking scales. They are useless. We hate them here. But yeah, I so hope that that was helpful in some way. Like I said, I don't have the answers. I just have the answers that help me. I still have my days. I have days where I cry if I can't have a certain thing, like sweets, which in the past I used to laugh about, and now I'm like, nah, that's not funny, babe. Like, that's really sad. It's really sad that I cry that I can't have food. Like, that's such a childlike state to go into. So, you know, if you have moments like that, don't feel bad. It's really sad that we have to experience those things, but you will have days where you feel better and you feel like, actually, I'm gonna, you know, I'm not gonna have that. I don't want that. I'll have it when I feel hungry, rather than, because that's what binge eating is eating even when you're not hungry anymore. So just trust your body and listen to your body once your mind and your body are working in harmony and want the best for you. That's when you can start listening to, okay, I'm hungry, I'm gonna have that, rather than I wanna block out this or I wanna fill this void, that's why I'm eating. Make sure that the priority for you eating is looking after yourself and making your body the best it can be and bringing you joy in your life, rather than trying to fill a void. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope it was helpful. I hope I didn't say anything insulting or offensive. Of course, anything that you disagree with, then please put it down in the comments. I'd love to have a discussion about this. I think it's really important that people listen to things and then kind of have a little debate or even agree. You know, if there's things that you were like, actually, that really resonates with me. I didn't know. Like, I literally woke up yesterday and was like, oh shit, food was the only thing I had, was my only outlet. I didn't have anything fun in my life, so that's why I'm obsessed with food. Like, I literally only figured it out yesterday. So, you know, we all get to understanding our bodies at different points and understanding our trauma at different points of life. So don't feel bad if you haven't got to that point yet. And if anything resonates with you, then I'm really pleased, and please let me know, because I'd love to hear if there's anything that you found helpful or that you disagree with in this video. Either way, let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I love you so much. You are worthy, you are strong, you are loved, and you can be whoever you want to be, and never let your past define your future. I'll see you soon. Bye.